Hey guys, saving lives and slowing down this pandemic of the coronavirus is of the utmost importance, and it's really challenging us as a species. And so I wanted to explain how this virus enters into human cells and explain a little bit of the science so you can understand what's happening. So the virus, and I made a little diagram for you guys. So the virus here, COVID-19, is covered with spike proteins. And spike proteins are what allow the COVID-19 virus to bind on the outside of our membrane proteins, specifically angiotensin converting enzyme 2 proteins. And so there are receptors alongside our, on the outside of our human cell. So this is a human cell here. We have all these little guys in here creating proteins, helping us with our DNA, creating energy like ATP, like our mitochondria. And so once the virus binds to the ACE2 receptors here on the outside, it can get in because the spike protein, it gets cleaved off and makes it into 2 spike proteins, which allow the virus to get into the human cell. So once the virus is into the human cell, then what it does is it releases, specifically, we know that this virus is an RNA virus, and it has bat origin, and it's an RNA virus. And what it does once it's inside the cell is that it releases RNA. And when that happens, it replicates. And so RNA replication happens, and it creates these daughter viral particles or multiple viral particles. And then what that does is it gets released into the bloodstream. And so what happens here, so this is our blood vessel. These are blood cells, red blood cells. And then inside here, these circles are hemoglobin filled with oxygen. And so hemoglobin is what carries our oxygen and carbon dioxide through our body. But what happens is these virus particles, they inhibit hemoglobin from binding from oxygen. And so what happens is the iron can't bind to oxygen. And so as this happens, our red blood cells get depleted of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Now this is a huge problem because then once it goes to the lungs, once this blood reaches the lungs, what happens in the lungs is that down here we have alveoli, which are little sacs where the sacs are lined with, they're called blood vessels, specifically capillaries, which are small blood vessels. And these capillaries and the alveoli are constantly exchanging oxygen and carbon dioxide. However, the virus stops that from happening. And so this is a huge problem because it leads to lung inflammation and really lung poisoning. So let's talk about ACE2 right here, the angiotensin converting enzyme 2. So this is a part of an important pathway called the renin-angiotensin system. So this is actually our blood pressure pathway. So changes in blood pressure signal the heart, signal the liver, and the kidneys. And so the liver here releases, it's called angiotensinogen, and then the kidney releases renin, which helps to reduce high blood pressure or increase low blood pressure and also help with sodium in the blood. We want to keep the sodium in the blood and the water, and so renin will help convert angiotensinogen from the liver into angiotensin. And so angiotensin is then going to be converted by ACE, which is angiotensin converting enzyme, and that's made by the lungs. And then angiotensin 2 is created in this reaction. Angiotensin 2 is a vasoconstrictor. And so what that means is that it constricts our blood vessels. So if you have high blood pressure and this is happening, if this system is trying to regulate itself and it's trying to make more angiotensin 2, it's going to constrict the blood vessels, and this can lead to a lot of issues. And so what happens is we give people blood pressure meds. Blood pressure meds, specifically ACE inhibitors or angiotensin blockers, they block this enzyme here. ACE, which is angiotensin converting enzyme. And then what happens is that ACE2, what the virus binds to, gets upregulated. And then this allows angiotensin 1 through 7 to be produced. And these are vasodilators. So they dilate the blood vessels. The coronavirus downregulates. So it binds to ACE2 and then downregulates it. And the loss of ACE2 function can be a prime initial event that leads to this increase of neutrophil infiltration in the lung. Now, neutrophils are part of your immune system. They're like your immune system's superheroes. They're your fighters. They're going to go out and they're going to try and calm down inflammation and help heal you. So as soon as the ongoing lung infection results, when there's not enough oxygen or carbon dioxide, then this is going to lead to even more renin release, which is from the kidneys, and then this leads to a vicious cycle. So hypertension, which is high blood pressure, is indeed a key risk factor in coronavirus, according to Chinese medics who are fighting this virus at the front line. So this system is intrinsically higher in the lungs. And so this is where ACE2, which is that receptor along those cells, is highly expressed to balance this angiotensin 2 production, which means that the stakes are raised here in the lung. And so this situation can also be further enhanced and be trouble for people who are on ACE inhibitor hypertensives. So research in experimental models has shown that an increase in the number of ACE2 receptors in the circulation after ACE inhibitors can lead to an increased risk of severe disease outcomes due to the coronavirus. Patients with chronic diseases, they're going to exhibit lower ACE2 levels. Also, ACE2 levels are decreased with age, which explains why people who are elderly or who have chronic diseases are more vulnerable. And since ACE2 protein is also expressed in the heart, in the kidney, in the small intestine, enterocytes, and the testes, then you can expect coronavirus patients developing changes at these locations as well. So replacing prescribed ACE inhibitors in coronavirus patients may be worth a try, as others are already suggesting. However, investigation is underway regarding this and trying to figure out how to block the entry of the coronavirus into the cells. And mounting evidence actually is indicating that vitamin D is a negative endocrine regulator of this renin-angiotensin system. So what does that mean? It means that vitamin D levels can help suppress renin expression. People lacking vitamin D have a weaker immune system against coronavirus. Also, other research is showing that glutathione is a regulator of the immune system, and that when we have less glutathione. So glutathione, let's talk about that really quickly. So glutathione is an important antioxidant in the body, and it is required by the liver to help you detox. We have the power to heal ourselves and to boost our immune systems before we ever get in contact with this virus. If you suffer from high blood pressure, it is something that I can help you with. Some people, it can be work stress, be genetics, and so it really needs to be individual when it comes to helping someone with high blood pressure. Also, with vitamin D and glutathione supplementation, it's really important to understand what your levels are first, because you may not need glutathione or vitamin D supplementation. So you can get that tested at my office. My office is still open. We are doing nutrient deficiency testing to really help support people's immune system, so that way they can get what they need so they can fight infections properly. I'm here for you, and if you want to work on high blood pressure, diabetes, or COPD, I can help you and assist you naturally. So you can contact my office. We're available Monday through Saturday, and we're happy to help you virtually.